Kate Dicamillo, an American writer of children's fiction for all reading levels. Kate was born on March 25, 1964 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. She lived there until she was 5. Kate lived with her mother, a school teacher, and her father, who owned his own orthodontic practice, and her older brother, Kurt Dicamillo. As a child, Kate Dicamillo suffered from chronic pneumonia. Her mother believed that living in a warmer climate would alleviate the chronic pneumonia. So when she was 5, her mother moved her and her brother to Clermont, Florida. Her father stayed behind to sell his practice, however, was never able to rejoin his family in Florida. Dicamillo says that being ill contributed to her development as a writer. She learned early on to entertain herself by reading. She learned to rely on stories as a way of understanding the world. As a child, books that inspired her to become a writer included The Secret Garden, Somebody Else's Shoes, The Yearling, and The 21 Balloons. Kate attended the University of Florida, where she graduated in 1987 with a degree in English. Early on, she knew that she wanted to be a writer. She said she had a passion for it, and she knew that she could be amazing. Upon graduating, Kate Dicamillo moved to Minneapolis, Minnesota. She ended up working in a book warehouse where she was assigned to the 3rd floor where all the children's books were. For 4.5 years, she spent all day, every day around children's books, and it wasn't long before she fell in love with them. Kate Dicamillo has written novels, picture books, and early chapter books. Kate Dicamillo wrote her first book when she was 29 years old. She wrote Because of Winn-Dixie. The story begins in the summer when Opal and her father, the preacher, moved to Naomi, Florida. Opal goes into Winn-Dixie supermarket and comes out with a dog. A big, ugly, suffering dog with a sterling sense of humor. A dog she dubs Winn-Dixie. Because of Winn-Dixie, the preacher tells Opal 10 things about her absent mother. 1 each year Opal has been alive. Winn-Dixie is better at making friends than anyone Opal has ever known, and together they meet the local librarian, Miss Franny Block, who once fought off a bear with a copy of War and Peace. They meet Gloria Dump, who is nearly blind but sees with her heart, and Otis, an ex-con who sets the animals in his pet shop loose after hours, and then lulls them with his guitar. Opal spends all that sweet summer collecting stories about her new friends and thinking about her mother. But because of Winn-Dixie, or perhaps because she has grown, Opal learns to let go just a little, and that friendship and forgiveness can sneak up on you like a sudden storm. Kate Dicamillo says she wrote because of Winn-Dixie, because living in Minneapolis, she became homesick for Florida, and she wanted a dog. However, she was unable to have one because living in an apartment building didn't permit her so. It allowed me to go home and go spend time with a dog of the highest order. In 2005, this award-winning story was turned into a film. In 2001, Kate Dicamillo also wrote The Tiger Rising. The story is about Robert Horton, who is 12 years old and lives with his very much alive father in a Florida motel called the Kentucky Star. The father and son have recently moved to Lister, Florida after the death of Rob's mother. In 2003, Kate Dicamillo wrote The Tale of Despero, that follows the adventures of a mouse named Despero Tilling as he sets out on his quest to rescue a beautiful human princess. This novel is divided into 4 chapters. Each chapter tells a story from the perspective of a different character. The 4 characters include Despero, Roscuro, Miguruso, and Altogether. In 2006, Kate Dicamillo wrote The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. Edward Tulane is a China rabbit given to a 10-year-old girl named Abilene by her grandmother in the 1930s. When Edward is lost, he is passed from hand to hand of a succession of life-altering characters, such as a hobo and his dog, and a girl with pneumonia, and her brother. Edward's journeys not only take him far from home, but even further from the selfish rabbit he once was. Eventually, cruelly broken against a countertop edge, he's repaired and offered for sale in a doll store. For several years he sat there, until finally, the same mistress he once knew bought him, but now older and more mature, with a daughter of her own. In 2007, Kate Dicamillo wrote one of 2 picture books. The first was Great Joy in 2007. The second of only 2 picture books that she has written was Luis, The Adventures of a Chicken in 2008. In 2009, Kate Dicamillo wrote The Magician's Elephant, a novel. In 2005, Kate Dicamillo began writing a series known as Mercy Watson. This series contains 6 books which tell the story of a pig and her adventures. In 2010, Kate Dicamillo began writing her second series, Bink and Goalie, about 2 little girls, one tiny and one tall, and no matter where the roller skates take them, they will always be friends. In 2001, Kate Dicamillo received the Newbery Honor Book for Winn-Dixie. It wasn't until 2004 that she received the Newbery Medal of Honor for The Tale of Despero. A few fun facts about Kate Dicamillo. She makes herself write 2 pages every day because it makes her a better writer for doing it. Making up fun names for the characters in her books is the easiest part of writing. Animals are a common element in all her stories. She doesn't have a dog, but she is the aunt of a terrier poodle named Henry. Kate isn't married and doesn't have any kids. Kate Dicamillo is quoted as saying, "If you want to be a writer, write a little bit every day. Pay attention to the world around you. Stories are hiding, waiting everywhere. You just have to open your eyes and your heart."